Alright. Now we will go and we will react to Bonbon's thing. As long as this, we can watch a few of these, yeah. We'll watch 5 of them? 5 sounds good. Then we'll watch the rest next time.
To compete with your already massive retinue and provide you advice on your empire. I am a servant of Tzeentch, the changer of ways and sworn enemy of the empire. But I still promise to provide honest guidance, because Tzeentch gang is weird like that. I have no idea why the
because Tzeentch gang is weird like that.
Lord of Change brought me to the most vanilla faction in the Warhammer universe. Perhaps he's pulling another sadistic prank on me. However, I will admit, it's reassuring to work for a faction that can reliably survive past turn 60. Your empire is beset by enemies on all sides, enemies I will tell you how to destroy, even though I will happily advise them instead, if you turn down my services. If you reject my advice, I will be forced to travel to another legendary lord. And since Lord Tzeentch likes to watch me stumble around blindly on foot, my next employer will probably be Khazrak One-Eye, as he is closest. That's right. Much like a Fortune 500 company or a political lobbyist, I have absolutely no qualms about who I provide my expertise to. But if you hire me, I will provide you my best unbiased counsel until Lord Tzeentch decides to betray me for reasons beyond my comprehension. As your advisor, I will...
I already think this is silly.
Randomly around the campaign map, startling you in your concentration and preventing you from actually running your empire. It will be pretty annoying if you have any idea what you're doing in this game. So what do you say, my lord?
This action does have my consent.
Kugath Plague.
No!
Words cannot describe how disgusted I am to be in your presence. Tzeentch and his followers have always hated Nurgle, and I am no exception. Amazingly, Nurgle is stupider than Khorne and somehow has even more STDs than Slaanesh. It blows my mind that any YouTuber would swear allegiance to him. In hindsight, I never should have complained about Tzeentch sending me to Karl Franz. I have no idea why the Lord of Change sent me to advise your faction. What's the point of advising a faction that can't even make it out of its starting province anyway? For crying out loud, Festus would have been a more exciting choice. Kugath, the only thing more nauseating than your units is the infuriating merry-go-round it takes to recruit them. And those Nurglings, some poor schmuck in CA probably didn't see their family for months just to make those nasty things. I see that you start with a unique yellow line trait. I bet it's something stupid like hates Tzeentch. Like your armies even have a chance against the forces of Tzeentch. Wow, I'm at a loss for words.
It's the racist faction.
I see now about you, Kugath. I shouldn't have judged a book by its cover. I had no idea you were such a cool guy. Nothing would please me more than watching your bloated hordes eradicate the stunties. To war.
Make them run.
Grimgore Ironhide.
Look, guys!
Grimgore Ironhide.
Guys, look! It's ogres!
I just finished reading your lore, and I've got to say, I'm thrilled to be advising your faction. There must be some mistake. I seem to have confused you with Grimgore Ironhide.
Orc.
Wait, you're Grimgore, the Green Slaughterer, the boss of the East, to Alpha Orc? But I don't understand. Your stats are terrible. In the lore, you went head-to-head with Archaon the Everchosen. And yet in this game, your best ability gets disabled when you fight a lord. Seriously, Creative Assembly must hate you. I'm gonna joke about this with Andy the next time we grab a beer. Grimgore Ironhide, your pathetic stats and skill tree aside, you are still the most formidable black orc in all the lands. Greenskins have a bad habit of crushing their opponents in the early game before disappearing in the late game. Similar to how mind-numbing trends like...
Which is weird. Interesting.
Fidget spinners used to dominate the YouTube algorithm, but you are different, Grimgore. Of all the greenskins in this game, your faction is the most likely to survive past turn 69. As long
Nice, nice.
as you can reach your opponent in melee combat, there are few enemies who can stand in your way. With that in mind, I would avoid the wood elves. Never mind, you won't see them anyway. Just stay away from trees that speak Vietnamese.
Huh?
Oh, don't you worry, my lord. Don't you worry. Something terrible is coming to the Dark Land soon. Something you might remember, and I know you'll love to fight it. That reminds me, my lord. I can't help but realize that we are neglecting one form of income that would be most prosperous to our cause. Trading. It's a passive way to create relations with other factions while also building up our economy. No, my lord, not quite like that. Trading creates a positive relation, unlike raiding, while also giving you shiny. No.
So it's like a threat for shiny.
Threats are also very negative, my lord. Like when you tell me that you'll eat me on a daily basis. That's a threat. You pick one faction you like, my lord. You tell them we have things worth shiny to you, and you have things worth shiny to us. You give me those things, and I give you my things, each for shiny. That's the beauty of it, my lord. You don't have to do anything else. Diplomacy? I think we should change subjects. Now about the bathroom situation.
Oh no.
Perhaps it is wiser to seek out more underlings.
Azazel, Prince of Damnation and Captain of the Ecstatic Legions. Hold on a second, I need to check something. It is said that the beauty of Azazel is second only to that of his divine patron, but as irresistible as Azazel's beauty is. Who wrote this? Whoever wrote this was clearly on some intense psychedelics. You're hideous.
Oh no.
I mean, just accept it already.
Never.
You could have been a beautiful human like Sigvald, but no. You just had to be Slanesh's favorite. Now you're a demon in complete denial of how disgusting he looks. I mean, you have literal snakes coming out of your groin. Not to mention those snakes are probably compensating for something. Oh, don't look at me like that, I'm right. Your own lore is about as embarrassing as your lore of magic. It says here that you ran into the forest crying after killing your best friend.
Man, I love fighting green skin. The amount of cheese I commit to them make Chaos Dwarf's workforce requirement feel short-sighted.
Speaking of which, I noticed that you don't inflict poison attacks anywhere in your tech tree. That's probably for the best, seeing as the last time you tried to poison someone it didn't go too well. You know what? That's a good thing. I'll actually count that as a point for you. The fact that you don't cause poison damage in this game is a clear sign of a rare phenomenon known as character development. Most of the stupid characters in this game keep circling back into their old destructive habits, pursuing old agendas over ancient grudges like a hopeless alcoholic plunging into a downward spiral. And no, I'm not just talking about the dwarves, I'm also referencing you, Malekith. Anyway, where was I?
Is this a double roast?
Even though I'm not thrilled to advise your faction, I've worked with enough Slaneshi factions to know what comes next.
Oh my god!
Those who do not willingly come to my side shall be rent apart.
This is the part where, despite you looking uglier than Gorich, you somehow try to seduce me into serving you.
That is what you desire.
Well, don't try it. If you do, I'll tell Kolek you used to serve Sigmar.
Woe to you.
I bet he'll get a good laugh out of that.
You guys are silly.
Archaon the Ever-Chosen, is it appropriate for me to even call you a lord? Until recently, you were a homeless horde faction that couldn't afford a house in the bull market, so you took your anger and frustration out on others by raising settlements for no gain. Like you literally lost the rest of your campaign movement range just to be petty. Who hurt you, Archaon? Nowadays you take part in shared housing with your provinces, allowing lesser Nord factions like the Kul to inhabit the rest of the province you don't desire. Pathetic. Ever-Chosen, more like forever picky, only going after dark fortresses. Hardly an improvement from your previous horde mechanics.
My man called him homeless.
Let's talk about the fact that it took years to fix the clipping issues your armor had with your helmet. It was literally flawed since your launch in the first game back in May 2016. It's sad to think that CA was willing to fix the Beastmen before getting around to you.
There'll be a reckoning.
Oh no, there won't. Or I'll tell Kolek you used to serve Sigmar.
No.
I bet he'll get a good laugh out of that. And what's with all of your quest battles? It's exhausting. If you're already the Ever-Chosen, shouldn't you start with this crap anyway? You and Carl are the biggest reasons people download the mod to auto-resolve quest battles. Lastly, I've been thinking about your lore. How do you like being the 13th Ever-Chosen?
What?
Nothing. It's all fine and good. If you are a Skaven, that is, how does it feel to know that you serve the Great Horned Rat?
I'm choking. Oh my god. Archeon the Never Chosen? Wow.
I need more minions.
Lord Krell, former champion of Chaos, Scourger of the Old World, and one of the 9 Dark Lords of Nagash. It is truly an honor to serve your faction. Oh, Kemler, I didn't see you there.
You disappoint me.
I didn't know you were a part of Krell's faction.
Foolish mortal.
Wait, you're telling me that you're in charge of the Barrow Legion? This servant of Nagash is under your thrall? That's crazier than when Manfred says,
Nagash was weak.
I'm sure raising Krell won't come back to bite you later.
Even Nagash had limits.
All right, you cheap evil Gandalf. I'll tell you how I really feel about your
Cheap
faction.
evil Gandalf.
The Vampire Counts are one of the most boring races in Warhammer 3, and your campaign, Kemler, is no exception. I mean, for crying out loud, your greatest rival in the lore isn't even a lord in the game. In patch 3.0, there's 89 legendary lords in the game, and we all know you barely made it onto the roster. You may be able to replenish in foreign territory in Warhammer 3, but that ability is pretty much useless now that your army takes attrition. The only reason anyone plays your campaign is so they can confederate the Red Duke. Well, I suppose your skill tree does allow you to easily raise dead units. That's got to be a handy skill to recover after all those battles you lose. Speaking of which, I can't believe you lost a battle to Arkin the Black.
I refuse your guidance.
Hold on, I have more. Imagine only getting the Siege Attacker trait in Warhammer 3 because Creative Assembly felt bad for you.
What the
Okay,
frick?
I'm done. I'm leaving.
He's like, I have one more thing to say to you.
Lord Mazdamundi, I
Mazdamundi.
stand in front of you feeling nothing but disgust.
His name is Mazdumuni. He has Dumuni.
Contempt. You're a delusional servant of long-lost ancient gods who all abandoned your species at the dawn of time. Now you're nothing more than a genocidal toad wizard on a permanent acid trip, hell-bent on eliminating lesser races and establishing your Lustrian Reich as part of your great plan. I know full well that you wish to see me purged like all other warm bloods, yet the Lord of Change demands I advise you anyway. There you go again about your genocidal great plan. For someone in the Order Tide, you're about as likable as wet socks. Seriously. You've been so focused on eliminating the lesser races, unsuccessfully I might add, that you don't even know what the next part of the great plan involves. Seriously, that's what you're going to do?
Construct additional pylons.
Strengthen your geomantic web. That's a flaccid faction mechanic if I ever saw one. It's truly hilarious that after 3 DLCs and 7 legendary lords, your faction is still outdated. The fact that Creative Assembly hasn't reworked your forgettable geomantic web mechanic shows that they care about you less than I do. I don't know if you can stand at all, you bloated toad. You're supposed to be the leader of the Lizardmen as a whole, yet you're a bigger disappointment than the Realms of Chaos campaign. Despite being genetically superior in Lizardman culture, you're completely outclassed by a skink. You own Hexoatl, and yet the only thing you do with your start position is build cheaper star chambers. I honestly don't know how you haven't already died of shame.
Don't make me get off this chair.
Despite being the leader of the Lizardmen, the last time you confederated another legendary lord was in 2019, which is incidentally the same year CA started desperately trying to make you not die to a no-name Norscan faction. Without Zlak, you'd be hopeless. The only units you buff are Temple Guard, which don't arrive until Tier 4, and by then they're competing with powerhouse units like Stegodons and Coatuls. I don't know how you can call yourself a superior mage when Manfred has 2 better laws of magic, and you have to make do with a single line, despite being thousands of years older than him. That reminds me. How does it feel knowing that you will always be second best to a legendary hero long past his prime? Croak's so cool he refused to fully die. Even though Lord Croak is basically a living mummy toad and a shell of his former self, he's still better than you in every aspect. While Croak is kicking ass alongside Gore Rock and Te Henoin, you sit on yours, barely moving beyond the isthmus, till the High Elves declare war on you for simping on Marathi. Maybe if you got off Zlak and started hitting the Saurus gym, you might contribute more to the great plan than your glorified role as a border guard. A role
What?
that, I might add, you are failing in spectacularly, given the presence of Slanesh demons everywhere. No doubt the end product of your aforementioned simping. Honestly, I don't even know why Zench is bothering with this great plan of yours. I'm leaving.
I mean, he did get one comeback.
Ever been press gagged before?
Aranessa Saltspite. I've heard tales about you before today, but I never thought I'd see you in the Vampire Coast. A little birdie told me you were on your way with Captain Roth to fight Count Noctilus. Well, you know what they say. If you can't beat them, join them.
You will be flogged.
It's doubly ironic that your sworn enemy is just a stone's throw away and Creative Assembly thought you should fight Norska instead. Especially when you should probably fall under their roster anyway. Speaking of your starting trait, I would like to thank you, Aranessa. You've saved me countless hours analyzing 89 starting traits to determine which one is the worst. It's yours.
No way.
Did that last jab hurt you?
She gets more money.
Oh, don't worry. There are plenty of healers in your faction. It's too bad their spells only work on undead.
Fear the Pirate Queen!
How am I supposed to fear you when you named your ship after your mutilated legs? Seriously? The Swordfish? It's not like Harkin named his ship the Schizo.
What the hell?
While I'm mentioning ridiculous things about you, I should also mention that you look like a fool bumbling around on the worst mount in the game.
I mean, she's riding a crab. Arguably, all things lead to crab.
Manan must be so ashamed.
No!
On a lighter note, I noticed that you provide a considerable buff to Sartosan units. It's a shame that they're only Tier 1, and your buffs are irrelevant by turn 30. Aranessa, there's no nice way to say this. Out of every faction in the game, you need an overhaul the most. You're undeniably the worst hybrid faction in the game. Gaming Rambles audience agrees, and they're all really cool, especially the ones who smash the subscribe button.
Want to slit throat?
Sorry about that. I got a little carried away. In short, Aranessa, it takes a mod to make your faction playable, and I'm in the mood for vanilla Warhammer. So, goodbye. I'm leaving.
His last words weren't even a rose. He was just like, I'm just done with you.
Tretch Craventail, I have to admit it wasn't easy hunting you down. You're so obnoxiously sneaky that it took me forever to find you. And as unremarkable and generic as you are now that I've found you, I'm still not sure if I'm talking to the right person. It's painfully obvious that Creative Assembly released you as a free legendary lord in early 2018, before they cared about making their FLC lords cool and exciting. It's also clear that the storm vermin warriors you buff the most are equally uncertain about joining your faction, because it still takes 2 turns for you to recruit them. 2 turns to recruit a melee infantry unit. What a joke. Kolek would never put up with that. I still can't believe it took you years to stop simping after Marathi and return home. Your faction effects revolve around you breaking treaties, running away to save yourself, and generally being a menace to society. In conclusion, Creative Assembly thought it would be hilarious to encourage the player to behave like the AI. At the end of the day, Tretch, there's absolutely nothing remarkable about you. There's nothing that makes you stand out as a natural leader or stick out as a threat. And honestly, I love that. Of all the crackhead rat people that comprise the Skaven in the Warhammer universe, you are the most Skaven among them. You possess the most Skaven qualities of any Skaven legendary lord, and that's kind of charming.
To seal bond, I just need to spray my musk on you.
Oh, that really won't be necessary. You know, I'm still not sure if I'm talking to the right rat. Carl Franz.
That's funny. He's like, I'm still not sure I'm talking to the right person. Right, this one now.
Prince Imric, Lord of Kalidor.
Oh, it's you.
You're in the running for the most narcissistic lord in all of Warhammer. And let me tell you, there's a lot of competition for that title. But why shouldn't you be? After all, you and the Knights of Kalidor are the last bastion of security for Ulthuan. Unless, of course, you count Tyrion, Alethana, Alariel, and Batman. Oh, and all of those lords start closer to Ulthuan. You know, to serve as the last bastion of defense.
Lions do not concern themselves with the opinions of sheep.
Imric, we've all been wanting to know. Did you flee Ulthuan because you had a petty squabble with Tyrion, or for other reasons?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
For a faction that specializes in flame damage, we all thought it was incredibly stupid for you to set up right next to the Chaos Dwarfs, unless you were after something even hotter.
Nope, I'm still not following.
Are you sure you didn't travel to the east to chase after a Cathayan dragon?
Wait, what? That's what they're saying. The filthy rabble is saying that I moved this far east to simp after Miao Ying.
The majestic defender.
Absolutely absurd. I'm far too racist for that accent.
Witness my power!
Imric, my goodness. You're not exactly in a friendly start position. It wouldn't hurt to raise your social credit score this far east.
Why are you surprised? The lesser races should take their place beneath the mighty high elves.
This video took a much darker turn than I was expecting.
Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna take a tier 4 settlement on turn 8. Later, losers.
He uses a lot of dragons. The high elves will rise again. Okay, buddy. You have fun with that. You have fun with that. Alright, one more. One more.
Tyrion, defender of Ulthuan and champion of the Everqueen, I have an important question for you.
Yes, I'm listening. Speak your mind, human.
Do you understand the concept of balance? Of course you don't. You're Tyrion, one of the strongest legendary lords in the game. You start in the easiest region in the world. Your only nearby enemy you might have to manually fight is Nukari.
Well, I'm not that overpowered. I mean, some of my buffs are useless. Minus 50% upkeep for Rangers and Silver Helms? What am I supposed to do with that?
For crying out loud, you can recruit Sisters of Avalorn in one turn. Now that they've nerfed the Dark Elves' slavery mechanic, there's no reason why they should ever defeat you in battle.
Hey! The godless heathens in Creative Assembly also nerfed the entrepreneur cheese.
You still have a significantly better start position, and you're one of the best lords in this game. So why is it that every time I'm not around, you let Malekith and his mommy Curb stomp the high elves?
Without fail.
For the life of me, I'll never understand why Alarielle stays with you. You've declared war on her so many times, it's honestly baffling.
For my queen.
You're the first man
I'm sorry? You just stabbed her.
I've seen commit domestic violence at the international level. You don't see Vlad and Isabella fighting like that. Hold on a second, there's something wrong with your stats. You don't do magic or flaming attacks. What? Your sword's on fire! How? And did you seriously simp for Morathi in the end times?
For my queen.
You know what? I'm just gonna forget that happened. I hate you too much already.
How can I aid the mighty Phoenix King?
That's funny, that's funny, that's funny. Alright. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for my likers and chatters. Thank you all for who's always here. You make me so very wonderful and happy. And remember, Book is always cheering for you. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Smoke a bomba!